Good evening. I'll call to order the meeting of the City of Keizer Traffic Safety, Bikeways, and Pedestrian Committee. First order of business is to consider the minutes of the February meeting. Any motion concerning the minutes?
I move that we accept the minutes.
Second.
There's been a motion by Wayne, second by David, to approve the minutes. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And I abstain, I was not here.
Okay.
The next item is the appearance of interested citizens, and I do not see any. So we'll move to, keep going. David, would you like to present the topic on the sidewalk budget request?
Sure. The meeting I went to wasn't the appropriate place to do it. After I went to all that pushing on you guys. I got some good information though. We might need to change our approach a little bit, but we still can go to the budget committee meeting and ask, but I pretty much guarantee what the answer is going to be. I met with Tim, the budget officer, head guy, accountant, and some city council members, and with Bill, lawyer. The idea is fine. I think I was shooting from the hip a little too much. The budget request will come from the street fund, which wasn't presented at the last meeting I went to, so I didn't bring it up. The next street fund is 100% taken off with repaving River Road this coming fiscal year. So we've got lots more time, not that we needed it, but we get it anyway. And the suggestion that we discussed, and it makes a lot more sense, and I'll just tell you what I think, if we can do it or not, is we should present a proposal to the city council of a specific list of sidewalks we want the city to install. And sidewalk is kind of a global term, not just cement and curb, it could be a paved walking path, but that would, in effect, force cars to park somewhere beside all over the place. Give a dedicated place for people to walk. Bicycling on the sidewalk's fine if there aren't pedestrians. And if there's not a lot of, I know, but if there's not a lot of pedestrians and you got little kids, I've recommended that people do it,
Bicycling
but get
at
off.
walking speed.
I know.
I'll argue that every time.
I know, but it's better than being in the street. And so we have that, and people with strollers and wheelchairs and all that stuff. Come up with a specific list of streets in a prioritized order. And we set our own priorities, I guess. Yeah, we would. And then present that to the city council. They can accept or reject or modify. They're the ones that direct Public Works to do it. And they're the ones that have the really have the purse strings to do that. Of course, they cooperate, they're working together as a team, because Bill will say, this is what money is available, or this is what money we can set aside, he could set aside in future budgets. And if we had a list of 50, 25 that we wanted done, that's going to take several years. That would give the city and Public Works a very firm direction to go. Of course, it's always amendable. Okay. So what I would suggest is that we come up with a list of maybe 5 right off the bat streets within the next month. And we can discuss it among ourselves of what we'd like to see done first. And I have my list already made, but I knew what I was doing. So, and then go from there, and we need to continue working on this till we get a complete list. And we've got quite a while. We've got, say, several months to do it in. It'd be nicer weather we can walk around.
It seems like that fits in with one of our long-term topic priorities that we said, and before 2 of you were on the committee, which was to identify sort of quick fix or missing link
Yeah.
things in the city. So I don't know if this discussion of sidewalk comes from that idea of missing links or highest safety problems, but either one, I
Or
guess we
both.
could present,
Yeah.
we could put them in both of those categories and then
What we
prioritize
don't
them.
want to do is try and figure out, let's do this one because it's cheaper. We're not, and I worked on road districts before, and so we've done some of this, and I don't want to get in the guessing game of this one's more expensive than this one. I know some of them are, but there's some that are cheaper than others, but that's really not our job. Our job is that these are the ones we need done, and,
Well,
let me just finish up and I'll be all done. And here's some of the priorities we would look at in doing this, and we'd have to agree on all of it a little more formally, is getting kids to and from, especially the safe routes to schools, those two, and then others. To and from public services, sheriff's office, city hall, food share, I don't know if that's a public service or not, but that might be something you'd look at. Police department, fire department. Being able to get the health services, dentists, clinics, and I didn't even think, are there any clinics, health clinics on? I know there's a dentist's office all over the place. I know there's Inland Shores and there's some out by Keizer Station. But keeping that in mind, to and from public transportation. We have a lot of people take the bus. Some bus stops are much more popular than others. Probably would help to make sure we can get them there safely. So those are a bunch of things we can take into account.
And residential.
Yeah, in residential and, and I'm assuming, city center is Chamau and River Road, correct? Is that what we consider city center? Or the court, the city hall?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, well, that's that one.
Something to talk to.
well,
So that's where we are. I don't know where we want to go with this now. That's would be my suggestion is
I mean,
to,
I would support that, having each of us bring a list of what you would consider a few of your top priorities, and then what category they fit into. Is it a safety concern? Is it a connectivity, missing link type of thing? And then, as you mentioned, what is the key destination that it's serving, whether that's a bus stop, school, shopping, or other types of services?
If I can.
Jamie? Yes, please.
I don't want to jump ahead, but I'm actually having the same situation that I need a memo for the grants as well that give our top 5 priority areas that we want to address with dollar amounts on this. I would say that I want to add to that I need it faster because we can actually get money by November if we can get it to them by June. So if we could bring something to the April meeting and at least start that and possibly May meeting as well, that way I can walk in there. I do have meetings. See, I'm jumping ahead. Sorry, guys. But I do have 3 different grant items or websites that I want gone to that Mid-Willamette Valley COG helped me hone in on and what I needed to get in order to fill these out. But deadlines for filing are like June 30th. They want submissions so that they're preparing their fiscal year budget for the next year and can add these onto there, or where they're going to disperse the grant, I should say.
So you probably need, as far as those school access projects, we probably need to know in April, because there's probably a step of going to city council for permission to apply.
Yes, and there's also the safe parks to school, or safe
Yeah,
routes to
safe
parks.
routes to parks.
And the reason I'm bringing that up is, yes, Tuesday at our Parks Board meeting, one of the Parks Board people, Tanya Hamilton, brought up the fact that around her park, I think it was Ben Miller Park, the sidewalks are non-existent, and she felt like it was important to get those. And so they encouraged her to come to this meeting, but I don't know if she knew that this is the night. So, but anyway, that's
what's her name again?
Tanya Hamilton. She used to be on the Parks Board, I think maybe when you were on the board, David.
I wasn't on the park.
You were never on the Parks Board? Oh, okay.
No,
I guess you've
everything
just been
else.
on this one so
That's one I
long.
wasn't on. Okay, I can get in touch with her. So how do we want to go about doing this?
Well, question for Debbie, would it work if we developed a sort of a chart and then people could send all their ideas to you so that it can be kind of, they
So
can
we
be
can
plugged
compile
into
it
the
all?
same kind of spreadsheet or something like
Yeah,
that?
yeah, that would
I
work.
wouldn't mind headline, whatever you call it, running this a little bit. If I can get it, so we can get, and then once we get the priorities, I don't want to make the list, but I could get it set up, to give an idea of which fits some of the categories.
If you said, yeah, the framework and
Yeah.
the type of project.
And we do have a map, the city, I couldn't find it, I was in a hurry, but we have a sidewalk inventory, Mike, correct?
I do, yes.
Somewhere.
I think I sent it to you once, but I will
I
send it.
know, but
I'll send it to you again. I've still got it.
I think everybody would like it to,
Okay. Yes, it was done,
Kathy,
quite a while ago.
yes, a long time ago, back
we
when we
haven't
were
paid
still in the old
anything, so
building,
we
so it's over 10 years old.
A needs inventory?
It's a sidewalk, it was a sidewalk inventory.
Yeah.
That was done by an intern, and I think that it laid out the places where there were blanks.
Yeah, it's
But like I
it's
said, I
usable.
think it's about
just a
10
little
years old.
small.
Do you
Bill
remember
thought it
it?
was more recent, but
He did?
he was thinking within 5 or 6 years.
Really? Well,
was
it
thinking it
could
was
be.
longer
I'm getting
ago
old,
than
it's
that.
hard to remember.
Would there be any value in going back into the minutes of the concerned citizens on the intersections they may have talked about? I just thinking about our last meeting, and they brought up concerns with at least 2 major areas.
That's a lot of minutes.
That's
Yeah.
a lot of,
Well,
Nobody wants to do that.
My problem with that is you're getting to the vocal people. So, I mean,
okay.
Yeah.
for example, some of the areas I think are really need some work, those people will never show up at a meeting like this.
Okay.
For example, if you get up to Keizer Road behind the school where the trailer park is, I haven't seen any of those people show up at the meeting. And that we need more work up there than a lot of other places. So I'm a little hesitant about, they're pretty common, the places.
There, okay.
Or it's one person is upset about
Yeah.
something.
Wayne, do you
That's
feel
what
like
you
you
could.
have some of the information with the inventories that you did around all of the schools?
Oh, yeah.
I wasn't really looking at sidewalks at the time.
Okay.
I can tell you about bike racks.
Oh. I was thinking you did the walking routes to school and then
Oh.
identified whether there was a sidewalk or a shoulder or neither of those
Yeah, that
within
was
the routes that
the
you-
walking routes to school. I did do that about 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And those are all on the website, so everybody could look at
Can't really
them.
remember where
do think
the
they
sidewalks are
said-
necessary.
There were some of them that did say there were parts without sidewalks. I'm not sure if they were specific.
We could use that as a resource.
Right.
That's what I
yeah,
was thinking.
And so they are on the website. Do you want me to send everybody the link?
That would be very helpful.
Okay.
Thank you.
Like that.
That would be a good starting point.
That was basically just designed
I think I got
to show kids how to get to school and then they could reverse it and how to go home.
I will,
But there
okay.
again, if any of those schools are close to where we live, then we can go and look at that route and see if it seems to be a high priority.
I agree with
Yeah.
And when we did the safe routes to school, we did Dixon, we talked about Kennedy Elementary, but Dixon and May run up in 18th Street. So, I mean, those are just examples. We did apply for a grant to get one of those to put a path in one of them, so. So I would like to come up with a list of, should we go for 10 by next month?
Well,
We're lucky if we get it, we're not gonna,
Well, I would think our discussion would be at next month. I
Next
guess what
month,
I was
yeah.
suggesting was that you set up a chart so that we can all feed the information to Debbie, and then it'll come in our packet next month.
yeah.
Probably more than 10 to talk about, but then we can decide at that meeting which ones we,
Yeah, so when you find
support.
something, we need a little rationale. I mean,
That's what I
why
was thinking.
a lot of kids use the school, route to school. There's a bunch of old people live in this retirement center and they're walking to Safeway or whatever. You know.
Right, that would be part of.
Those sorts
part
of
the
things.
Reasoning.
And if we keep in mind where things are in the city, because one of our things is kind of get people to move around. So if it's easier, maybe they'll do it.
I mean, you should have on that chart, I would think you would have, the street name, the length, either in number of
Or blocks,
blocks
yeah.
or feet, whichever you can do, one side or both sides, whether one side or both sides need it, whether you're asking for whether you're thinking of a sidewalk or just a paved shoulder.
Yeah.
And then what is the compelling reason that it's needed, why that's a priority
If you can.
site.
Yep.
Got it.
We could divide the map up into sections.
I got some all over the city already.
Counselor?
There's already squirrel.
Thank you, Acting Chair. One of the things I would just suggest is that we make sure that we have priorities on them so that as a council, we can take a look at them. And if there's some of them that have priorities that grants may be available for, that would even be better. If we had that information, it would make that a lot easier for us to wade through it and just, let's go for it.
Yeah.
I think I'm hearing our priorities, which was schools, city halls, parks, health services.
Right,
public
but if we
transportation,
identify what each of those,
Yeah.
where each of those are, then that would make it a lot easier for us. Because quite frankly, we have a lot of schools that don't have sidewalks around them.
Yeah.
And we're not going to be able to do them all at once.
Well, and that one definitely would take priority for me with wanting a grant. So knowing those top 5 ones just for that grant would definitely help.
Yeah.
Perfect, thank you.
Write it down, because if every time I talk to Mike, he's saying, oh yeah, but if we did Acorn Street over here next to the byway, and I have no idea what he's talking about, because he knows all the streets in the city, and I'm trying to remember, is that North Keizer or South Keizer?
I think that'd be great.
Yeah,
Did we answer if we're going to break up the city?
I don't.
Well, that was it, just to.
I think what was just said is we were going to identify which ones personally that you think are the most important.
Jamie,
And some of those may be the same.
Okay.
Jamie, you mentioned you have 5 grants that you're looking at.
3 grants. It's Salem Foundation grant application and the Community Fund, and then a charitable contribution, but I'm not, CTSI is the name of that one. I don't know what the acronym stands for on that one. And then the Safe Routes to School grant, I'm going to that. Well, it just got canceled, so I'm put myself on the webinar call that is on May 4th. So it's a little bit later, but I think that getting the annual report, kind of just beefing up my knowledge of the grant system will help out.
Okay, that was my report.
And I jumped in, sorry.
Oh,
Okay, we didn't have, so we didn't do it as a motion, but we have a direction, I think, right? Okay.
With consensus, I think.
Yes, the consensus, there we go. I'll move into project reports, and there's 2 of them with my name. The Parkway Path Signage one is one that's been kind of laying dormant for a while, but I actually got a call from the person at ODOT the other day saying that it's not forgotten. She has been, I don't know, there's been reorganizing and different things going on, but she's still trying to work on that. So I'll reconnect and see if we can get any further traction on that one. And then the outreach with the trash receptacles in bikeways and walkways, that'll be next on my list. No progress at this time, but it's still on my waiting list. Wayne?
I was, last month I was assigned ODOT Community Path Program. I haven't done anything with it. I still need to determine what that is. So I'll try to do some research this next month.
Okay. Stephen?
So it sounds like with regard to the missing link connectivity project, some of this is going to get subsumed into what else we're doing here. One of the things I've been doing right now is in the 2009 transportation plan, there were 12 specific sidewalk projects identified. And so I think now, looking at those, and I understand, Mike, basically none of those have been done yet because there was never any money for it. Is that accurate? I think that's what you signaled last time, but I'm not sure that that's right. And that there's going to be a new transportation plan developed sometime.
To work towards filling in
Right,
those
right.
areas and taking care of them, correct?
But I think looking at some of those and seeing to what extent, one, they're still undone, and also what the priorities of those, for those might be. A couple of them were identified as high priority, several medium priority, and then a few that were low priority, and seeing if those are still like things where there's still a live interest in doing those and how those fit into whatever else we're identifying here as a project. So I'll look at those
Okay,
going forward
that
in
would be good.
anticipation of the next meeting.
What was the reference again? The
The 2009 transportation
transportation.
plan.
It's on the website.
Okay.
And it also has a couple of maps which show some of the gaps and where some of the sidewalks are.
And I think some of those are bigger projects and they're in line to happen down the road. And I kind of think what Dave is talking about, and you guys can put them all together however it works out, but it's more smaller areas to fill things here and there, around the school or on Keizer Road that David's talked about. And those seem like great ones to put down and prioritize to then apply for a grant. I don't know how much money those grants will give, but just for an example, the 10-foot asphalt path on Delight, that's 1,200 feet and it's $150,000.
Yeah.
So that's not huge, but it's a pretty fair chunk of money.
And then,
So-
for example, a horrible place to walk, if you're, most of you are familiar with it, is from the traffic circle along Verda to Dearborn on the east side where the ditch is. You want to walk over there. But anyway, I think, Mike, correct me if I'm wrong, the plan is for that section to be redone, the street and the sidewalks, everything is when the west side of Verda is developed. That's if and when. That'll probably be part of that plan, the plan development. So that, although it's an important place for a sidewalk, it's kind of in the plan already, unless I'm,
The west side, yes, I'm not sure about. Thanks. The west side, yes,
Yeah.
when that's developed, they'll have to improve the frontage out there. I'm not sure if the east side, we'll still have to
Right.
figure out how we're gonna do that and acquire, I don't know if we need to acquire any right of way there, probably not, but that'll be something. Hopefully we can do
Yeah.
it at the same time and be done.
So anyway, that concludes my report.
Thank you. Since Mike is not here, Jamie, you're next.
So I gave most of my update already.
Okay, all right.
I tend to do that. But I did want to ask, do we know how much an additional slowing device would cost? Because I think
You mean
you said,
radar?
yeah, the one that we only
Speed
have
reader?
one, the speed reader.
Uh-huh.
Thank you.
The trailer?
No,
Signs?
the sign.
that's the one.
They're around $1,200.
How much?
100?
The mounted ones that we have that are permanent that we move here and there.
Move around?
I think around 1,200.
Okay.
Is that, now, are those solar, does it have a little solar panel up there?
We own 2 of them, and the police department got one here recently. They have 2. We each have 2 now.
So 12, so if I feel generous, I could just give you $1,200?
Yeah.
Okay.
Good idea.
You like that? I figured you would.
So I'll continue to go to the webinar and just gather more information. And I think our next meeting will really help me guide writing
So we have a correction in that pricing for you.
Oh, good.
They're more like 6,000 apiece.
There we go.
I had 1,200 from something else, and I'm glad I had a note in here because David looks at me and he goes, that doesn't sound right.
Inexpensive, but
Okay.
But
Pretty
if
big
there's-
difference
David,
down now.
David, if they're solar powered, do they work at night?
yeah, they got little batteries on them.
Yeah.
So I'll continue on. Thanks.
Okay. Let's move on to
No, go ahead. I was wondering if she-
committee member input, other than our assigned projects. Do you have anything else to report, David?
No, not right this second.
Okay.
I have one, House Bill 4103 just passed the House and it's going to the Senate right now. This is let cities set their speeds. Currently, right now, residential speeds are mandated by ODOT, I believe. And this bill, if passed, will turn it over to the cities to make the decisions, and can be reduced by 5 miles per hour in some of the areas. So maybe that might help us if this goes by. So I'm going to continue to watch it. It doesn't look like they did it in the short session or approved it on the short session. So whenever I see more up to date, I will definitely let you guys know that one.
That's probably related to the presentation that we had from ODOT, from Doug Bish, about the different ranges of speed and who has authority to set the speed in each range.
Yeah.
You remember when that meeting was?
Oh, about early to mid last year.
Did you, because I can send you his PowerPoint if you would like.
Great.
You stay up till midnight, don't you?
Yeah, it's good reading.
I guess I could, since Hirsch isn't here, I can comment that the Monster Cookie Bike Ride is coming up next month.
Maybe.
April,
Maybe.
maybe? Oh, maybe?
Yeah,
A lot of things have been canceled recently
Yep.
yeah, the NCAA.
or postponed.
Women's term.
Yeah.
Well, it was
Yeah.
currently scheduled for April 26th, but
Duly noted.
you guys will be, I guess, alerted about your usual duties that everybody's so grateful that you perform on Monster Cookie Bike Ride Day with the traffic control and the street cleaning in
We're
advance.
prepared to do it and hopeful that it'll be continued.
Okay, and hopefully, yeah, maybe we're not breathing on each other, when you're
Yeah.
riding along on
Don't
bikes.
breathe hard. I have a comment now. I went, remember a couple meetings ago, we had some people from Mandarin up by
Mandarin? Okay.
up in there. Found some really interesting, because I get gas there all the time, so I'm right near there. So I went down and parked and read a book. I saw 2 cars in 20 minutes on that street. Not speeding either. But that was it was like 1:30 in the afternoon. The other day I was going, I never go out at anywhere between 4 and 7 if I can avoid it. The traffic taking a left heading south on River Road, turning at the signal, the McNary Estates signal to go by the gas station back in there. I'm assuming they're taking shortcuts because there were so many people taking a left turn, they backed up and had the left lane of River Road backed up past the next signal. Didn't last very long, but there must have been 20 people taking a left there. Just a freaky little time frame. But there must be little times of the day where it gets really busy and then nowhere else, nobody drives on the street again. I mean, if we had a street that we could put away for a while, it would be great. But so when people come in and complain about speeding, I think it's not just speeding on that street, it's speeding on that street and probably in under an hour time frame. In other ways, all the speeding probably occurs at 1 or 2 times. That would be my guess. Officer, is that?
Which street are you talking about specifically?
Oh, where they turn to take the shortcut up through,
Are you talking about going up 14th and?
yeah, up in
and
there,
then cutting
off
through
of
the
River
trail?
Road, cutting at the signal.
Yeah, and we got 2 stop signs that are right in there, so I mean,
Or they go up farther. Yeah, but anyway, it just looks like it's time when they're there, because the rest of the time, nobody drives over.
like everything else, though, most of it's either during commute times or school pickup times. I think that's pretty much our
That's it.
most
Just the
predictable.
area of, like Trail Avenue
Yeah.
and the
I
one
believe that's where he's talking
parallel
about,
to Lock Haven.
Where they can come up Mandarin or Harmony and then go Trail and then turn left at Manzanita there.
Yeah. So anyway, it was just an interesting point when we're listening to these people that it's very time constrained when the
Right.
problems occur. I don't have any solution to any of that, but it's,
No, but it'd be good for us to ask that question
Right.
yeah.
continually, or when they're giving us their.
Wayne, any other activities to report?
I noticed several of the roads have been improved by Marion County or by ODOT, or I'm not sure who did it, but they've been improved. Quinnaby has been improved, resurfaced, and
Real pavement, not chip seals.
not chip seal, a lot of much better, smoother pavement. There were several other roads that I ride, but whoever did it, ODOT or Marion County, did a really good job on those repaving those surfaces.
I had thought of that, when those were first done too, and whether our committee would ever want to write a thank you letter to the county for paving them instead of chip sealing them, since they are popular cycling routes.
And then a little farther out, 65th Street, 75th Street, this is not Keizer, but this is more like Brooks or Jervis area now, but a lot of the streets have been improved.
Yes.
That's all I've noticed.
We've had a few nice days for bike riding recently, but beyond that, I have nothing to report.
Okay. Let's see, then, let's move on to staff report. Mr. Griffin.
Thank you very much. A couple of things, the Delight Street 10-foot asphalt pathway, Joko Construction was a little bidder on that, and they plan to start that coming up here April 6th. So that's coming up here right around the corner. And at the same time, River Road, the curb ramps, the ADA ramps, like were done last summer that we did from Claygate to the south. We're going to be doing a project now from where we left off, it's actually Sandy Drive, to the north to B&S Market. So the handful of ADA ramps that are involved in that section of road will be under construction, and they will be putting back brand new in lieu of us paving River Road this summer. And that goes out to bid this week. So we'll get the ADA ramps taken care of, and then we'll come in and pave it. So you'll see a lot of what you saw this last summer, but a smaller area. And what's good is we got the bulk of it done, and we've moved north a little bit. So I'm hoping a few less headaches, a few less. It went fairly well last summer. All in all, it was a long summer and a lot of River Road being torn up and a lot of traffic and a lot going on. But for the most part, I think it went really well. So those are some projects coming up. And there's also another one. We're going to reroute a storm line on Shoreline. Currently goes underneath the house, and we're going to take it around the corner and head west to Cummings, where we have an outfall. It's a pretty important outfall. So that's another project coming up. And lastly, there was a talk, Hirsch had brought up about some no parking signs for Will Lake Road on the north side of the street off of Wheatland Road. And that went to council, that was approved, and those were installed last week. So, yes, sir.
Do you know anything, is anybody considering doing something on Wheatland Road? I don't know where I heard that, now I couldn't remember where I heard it, and I didn't know if I was just dreaming or what.
As far as what we've resurfaced.
Long-range projects or long-range planning for doing something on Wheatland Road?
Not for paving, that's just as needed, and that whole
Right,
stretch
no,
has
but
been done in
It was
my
a re-something.
Wasn't there going
No,
to be
there's
an advisory committee
sidewalk
for Wheatland
infill, as
Road?
far as I know. There's a long-range, what do they call it, a module planning coming up about getting a different perspective or how we want to see things or change things. Yeah, that's something that's coming up. There's a committee, I think Hirsch is going to be a part of that for some
Okay.
planning on how to,
Part of the planning committee process?
It was Wheatland Road.
Yeah. But whose committee? What committee?
It's totally separate. It's not a city committee.
Okay, so it's who is it?
Well, we have a member of the traffic safety on that committee,
Okay.
and it's being put together. It's a consultant that's doing it, and I am not familiar, but it is through, Bill would know, Bill lawyer.
Okay.
Okay?
If any of you wonder, that's where I live, so I'm more familiar with, Wayne lives out on River Road, and I live out on Wheatland, so we'll probably visit there more often.
A question on the storm drain, rerouting the storm drain, storm line on Shoreline. Last month, we had several of the visitors talking about speeding on Shoreline. Is this storm line rerouting going to address the speeding issue? It's going to slow them down a little bit maybe, or due to construction, or?
no, and I don't recall people on Shoreline. It was more so Fifth Avenue in that neighborhood, but no, it's improving what's there now, and it's getting out from underneath a home, so.
But really no traffic?
Well, it'll slow traffic down when the construction's going on.
You just leave those signs out there? And
Mike, you might mention how deep that pipe was.
It's about 18 feet deep. You pull the manhole and your stomach kind of goes,
Yeah.
oh, okay, I hope I
18
don't.
feet down. Oh.
It's deep, so.
Half again as high as this road.
Thank you.
Okay. The police report, please.
Not a whole lot to report on, but I did give Officer Powell some directed patrol back in the West Keizer neighborhood area, and he actually put in 8 physical hours in that neighborhood. So over a couple of different days, but 8 physical hours. Of those 8 hours, most of the side streets, out of all the side streets he was on, he actually stopped 2 vehicles. One was for a seatbelt violation, the other one was for a cell phone. 0 speed issues in the areas around Fifth Avenue and those back feeder roads. More of the main stretches that we have where those feeder roads go into, when you start talking about Sunset, he had 0 stops. When he got to Cummings, he had a few more stops, and in Dearborn, he had most of them. But most of those, he had 11 traffic stops for speeds in that 8-hour period, and that was between Cummings and Dearborn being the 2 major ones. The highest speed for one of them was 40 miles an hour. Most of them were right around that 37 mile an hour zone area. And out of all the citations, so out of those 11, 12, so out of the 13 that were issued in that 8-hour period, all but 2 were West residents.
Oh, dear.
Your neighbors, my neighbors.
They all live within that residential area. So we plan on doing some spot enforcement areas, again, to try and let them see that visibility area. But again, they need to start talking amongst themselves, because what they're complaining about, what we're seeing so far, is them being the offenders. When I say them, being the residential areas that they represent. So I found that kind of interesting.
Not people, cutting through from.
Not people cutting through, no.
Okay. So interesting, yeah, good. I mean, it's a useful observation. Councilor Kohler. Oh, well, sorry, did you have anything else?
Nope, that was it.
Thank you, Acting Chair Pat. Just a couple of things. One, if you drive down River Road now, you'll notice that some of the manhole covers and the other little things have sunk down a little bit. And I asked Mr. Lawyer about that, and he said that they're guaranteed for a year, and as they sync just a little bit more. As early this summer, they'll be bringing all those back up so it's actually smooth again and not having the big thumps. And so I appreciated that, and that we're being diligent and paying attention to that. And the other is that I think, Debbie, the website has all of the councils and all of the committees and things on it. And I think, are you in the process of updating all those? Is that so that we have the right names on those committees?
No, I mean, I'm not aware that we don't have the right names. So if you are aware of some, just email me and let me know.
Okay.
Which one did you see that didn't have the right names?
The Planning Commission.
Okay, I will check that.
So I just wondered if there were some others too. So anyway, but I know that she takes care of the website for us for the most part, and she does a great job. So that's what I have.
Thank you. Is there any other items of business that we should add?
Well, question, are we getting more policemen next year?
So we have 2 openings right now.
Yeah.
Actually,
Well,
no, we
those-
have 1 opening right now.
And will they affect the number of people we have on traffic patrol?
As soon as we have one officer slated right now to go to motor school in April. Eugene is hosting a basic school that we'll be sending him to. So assuming that he passes the 80-hour course, I'm assuming he'll be joining our traffic unit as soon as we have patrol filled from our training program. Because we actually have, I believe, 2 guys. One graduates tomorrow, and then we have 1 more in the academy still. And so that'll give us 3 that we will have still in a training program though. So it still takes a little bit to get them trained in on the road solo.
Let's see. Well, when you say a little while to get them on the road, we're talking, what, 6 months?
So it usually takes about a minimum of 4 months in our FTEP program, and that's after, that 4 to 6 month period in the academy, depending upon when they're actually slated to start.
Okay.
So realistically, it takes us
Things will
about
get better.
10 months from hire date to get somebody even potentially on the road. That's not a lateral.
Okay. I see that our next meeting is April 2nd instead of the 9th
Yes, 1 week earlier than usual.
because of,
Because, well, I really don't know. I think it was something to do with rooms.
the room availability.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so April 2nd will be our next meeting, and I guess with that, I can adjourn this one.
Good job.
Since you have to